I remember seeing GTFO trailer for the first time and how shocked I was. Game looked great and promising. Never thought it will ever be released, and now finally I can play it. So let's see if you're ready for this one. Drop a like and I'll wait your opinion on the game. Developer 10 Chambers spent years working on GTFO before early access, and after the initial release, the team spent a further 2 years refining the experience prior to the version 1.0 launch. GTFO took massive strides in that time, and this week's launch update is no slouch either. Adding in bot teammates, character customization and a few tiny nods towards accessibility, GTFO now feels like a full package, taking inspiration from the style pioneered by Valve's Left 4 Dead. GTFO is a co-op-focused horror experience where a team of 4 prisoners must fight against hideous monsters in a vast underground complex. In addition to an impressive array of firearms, each player has the opportunity to bring in a tool that defines their role in the expedition, whether that is laying down suppressing fire with one of several turrets or scanning the rooms ahead for enemies. Each prisoner plays a vital role in keeping their teammates alive and kicking against a swarm of unspeakable horrors. I spent copious amounts of game time preparing for upcoming expeditions. Loadout balancing is essential in GTFO, and it's a good thing that each prisoner can come equipped with 2 firearms, a melee weapon, a heavy-duty tool, and double-edged buffs called boosters. GTFO rewards stealthy approaches and meticulous planning, so I usually bring a knife to silently take down unaware sleepers while also referring to my bio-tracker tool to record enemy positions. Other gear includes blunt weapons and cool gadgets like foam launchers for slowing rampaging targets, or gluing doors shut or auto sentries for buffeting pesky flankers with tungsten rounds. Booster effects such as increased damage and specified resistances make each prisoner feel like a one-person army. Vanquishing monsters with synchronized melee attacks to establish fortified defenses for moving down incoming adversaries is never easy. Even so, when each player is attentive and utilizing equipment effectively, GTFO's squadrons of disparate parts suddenly feel like well-oiled machines. Launching expeditions with friends is the best way to experience the terrifying mayhem, and GTFO's team-centric exploration mechanics are proof of this. I'd share medical packs and munitions sprinkled throughout the map with less fortunate companions, that one shotgunner always taking hits on the front lines or the distant sniper consistently low on ammo. Moreover, tools satisfyingly pay off when paired together. Mines deployed on foamed gateways would exterminate entire armies, allowing the team to save resources for creatures with bigger health pools. Hollering in unison as swarm clamber into a once empty room and breathing a sigh of relief when the team somehow emerges unscathed rank among my favorite moments in GTFO. GTFO might grow stale the more hours I pour into it, but 10 chamber collectives rundown updates function like seasons and are guaranteed to introduce new levels and primary or secondary goals to complete in the coming months. The gunplay leaves a lot to be desired, as the catalog of assault rifles, SMGs, pistols and shotguns feels the same, but stealth runs are satisfyingly to plan out with others. Guttural screeches of enemies are blood-curdling during engagements, while dark and complicated backdrops limit sidelines and keeps me on my toes. GTFO isn't for the faint of heart. Nevertheless, the fear of death means that re-strategizing and improvising are commonplace, which is a metagame that feels disappointingly absent in most cooperative shooters as of late. If you've been craving an FPS that tests your critical thinking and mechanical skills, then GTFO might just be the perfect hidden gem to satiate that ravenous hunger. One thing that hasn't changed since GTFO's early access days is how hard each mission can be. Thankfully, exploring tunnels and latching onto a small hope of survival is extremely fun even when things fall apart. Random enemy placement keeps things fresh, and the teamwork required to pull off a successful run makes for invigorating triumphs. At its best, each session provides memorable encounters that players can trade stories about long after they put the controls down. Unfortunately, heading online without a group can frame GTFO in the worst light. The playfully vague bits of narrative and the lack of universe-breaking objective markers serve to confuse players jumping in without presentation, leading to games where teammates wander into corners, alert sleeping enemies, and then quit after an instant death. Ideal scenarios can be worth the hassle, but it's still hard to convince the average gamer to go through those hoops where so many other co-op experiences don't require such a drastic setup. With the right team in place, GTFO's core gameplay loop feels ready for prime time. Guns have significant weight to them, emitting a chaotic soundscape whenever stealth fails and the monsters begin to charge. On the flip side, sneaking around sleeping giants is appropriately tense. Even a room of the most basic walkers can pose a challenge, but it won't be long before any groups runs into more sizable opposition paired with wandering scouts. With limited ammo and health recovery options, alerting the horde is never good, but it also seems inevitable, and that makes for a thrilling balancing act. Outside of the improvements to accessibility, GTFO's biggest update from its early access days lies in its graphical updates. The sparse environments hide great details in out-of-the-way corners, and the monster design shines brightest in the shadows. Even better, those same shadows provide scares that put it well on the same level as Resident Evil and other survival horror grades in terms of sheer terror. It's impossible to experience the greatest moments of GTFO without a group of friends, but the launch version of the game makes it worth the effort. 10 Chambers has developed a content-packed co-op shooter where it's accelerating to success, and crucially, it can even be fun to fail. There's just enough horror and action to satisfy a wide variety of players, but finding those players and gathering them on a regular basis can be a hassle. Still, anyone willing to do so will see that GTFO has a huge change for success in the long term, especially if the developers continue to crank out more highly refined nightmares.